All right. Doing the hemp challenge now, Stella says. Could I do the vault challenge? Of course. Every food selection in the hemp challenge is ideal for any time. It's just the more of those that you do in a given day, the better the results. Even if you're jumping in and out of the meal plan, as long as your meals are approved and we're controlling insulin and portions, you're doing well. The challenges that we've come out with lately are not like tap out challenges. They're like do your best challenges. Now, the vault, I'm hoping that y'all will look at it like a tap out challenge. So, what we're going to allow for in the vault for 2 weeks is the vault meal plan and the hemp. So, there you go. And it should be crazy. We should have some body fat melting like taking a blowtorch to butter. You can do anything for 2 weeks. Shanice, I'm going to turn you over right now if you don't mind. So I can start the lesson. I'm going to turn you over to Lisa and let her help you out. And then at the end of class, I'll check back with you to make sure you've got everything you need. All right, let's get this party started. So this is lesson 3 of our fast track class. Now, if you've watched the pre-recorded videos and you've taken the test, passed the test, earned the badge, you're already ahead of the game. And a lot of people actually, if this is something we were looking at the other day as we try to restructure, most people that log into the website aren't even in the members only group. Can you believe that? So there's a lot of silent people out there that's doing really good with the program. And they've never done anything. We were looking, they've never done anything except either watch my daily doses or watch Kim's fast track videos. That's all they've ever done in the website. And their results are amazing. So if you've got that component, now what we're doing in here is we're getting in the nooks and the crannies and the crevices of the fast track. So that by the time you get through this course along with fast track, you've got, let me mute this. You've got an amazing, what we call here, beginner level education. But I guarantee you, if you're sitting around the table with any dieter across America and most nutritionists and dietitians, even when you get done with fast track, you know more about practical, sustainable weight loss and wellness than they do. I used to be so intimidated early on in my journey to be invited to speak to doctors, and I'd be like, I can't, they're not even gonna listen to what I say. And I was amazed at how little is known about protein and fiber to help control insulin. It's just not that well known. So y'all are really like me. The good Lord's providing you and me a great education. And if we'll just apply it, we know that knowledge is power. I have heard that wisdom is the proper application of knowledge. So you actually have to use your knowledge. I know that it's one thing to know what to do, but it's another thing to do what you know. That's where your why comes in. Now, this is the 3rd lesson. We've already talked about the benefits of having a big why. Why are you doing this? People usually don't do things that they don't have to do if there's not a payoff at the end of it, right? For example, unless you just like to drive, I bet most of us doesn't. None of us is excited about the drive from North Georgia to Panama City to go to the beach. Nobody's excited about the driving part. We're excited on the way because we know where we're getting. We know where we're going. We're going to have some beach time. It's going to be nice. So we're willing to go through the drive. We're willing to go through that little bit of pain to enjoy that beach time with our family and friends or whatnot. Same thing with this. You got to keep and I know the drive's a little longer. I mean, we would all love to do this program for how long does it take to get from my house to Panama City? 7 hours. So we would all love to do this for 7 hours and be at our goal weight, but that's not how life works. It's a little longer journey, but what we get out of it's a lot better than a beach trip. I mean, we get a new body. We get more self-confidence, more self-esteem. We drop the medications. You just can't beat it, right? So what we're fighting for here, it's worth it. Now, where I'll be going is in the website for those of you that want to follow along. And we're going into digital books. Digital books. This is our lesson 3 in our phase 1 program. And I'm going to scroll down. We'll take a few steps back to go forward just to summarize where we were. Let's see. I believe we stopped last time. Did we handle all 4 macros? We did, didn't we? Didn't we handle all 4 macros? Okay, we handled protein, carbohydrate, fat, and water. So I'm going to get through water while we're stay hydrated, then we're getting into the categories is where we are. So we broke down, when we wrote the program, we broke the program down into 7 categories. We could have minimized those, but the reason I did 7 is for behavior reasons. Really, we could have just broke it down into protein, carbs, and fat categories and left it at that. Because really, the combination model, what we're doing is trying to avoid simple sugars, starches, carbohydrate, coupled with long-chain triglycerides. That's what we're trying. Lisa, could you help Shanice, please? Thank you. What we're trying to do is avoid, when we're trying to lose weight, we're trying to avoid the consumption of anything that elevates blood sugar. And the faster it elevates blood sugar, the more likelihood there will be fat storage. We're trying to limit combining carbohydrate, simple or complex, to things that are heavy with fat, LCTs. So let's talk about that for a minute. Because in every category, there are some carbohydrates that are slower digesting than others. That's what we want. Okay, for example, sorry. Corn is a lot faster breakdown than, say, a sweet potato. A white potato is a lot faster breakdown than a sweet potato. A Crowder pea is slower breakdown than a sweet potato. Broccoli is a lot slower, way slower than either one of those. The faster something digests, the faster and more rapidly it elevates your blood sugar. Therefore, the more rapidly you must get your insulin. Does that make sense? Now, we've learned that insulin is a fat storage hormone. It's an appetite accelerant, and it stops the efficiency of your fat burning for up to 2 days. So if you're trying to lose weight, we want to really monitor and neutralize that insulin impact. The slower digesting something is, the less insulin that our pancreas will have to secrete. Or if we're having to take insulin or take medication to control blood sugar, the less insulin we're going to need and require means the quicker we can get back into fat burning. So you got to be real careful when you're talking something fast digesting. The faster digesting it is, the less fat there better be in that meal, unless it is MCT fats. So when we're looking at LCT fats, they're not bad for us. It's just we don't want to couple them with the starches. But LCTs, I like to explain like a long candle wick. It takes longer to burn. It's in the absence of carbohydrate. When we consume a fat, if we're already in a calorie deficit, that fat, it's like taking a max to it. It begins to be utilized as an energy source immediately. So, for example, if something has 200 grams of fat in it, say like a steak, there's 9 calories in a gram of fat, so that's 180 calories from fat in that steak. And if you're already in a calorie deficit, your body's going to start using it right away. And then after eating that steak, in a couple of hours, you're back in efficient fat burning because you're back in a calorie deficit. Let me pause there. I think reverse engineering this stuff will help you make better decisions. Did what I say so far about LCTs, fats like steak fat, consuming it and it being used real quick, did that make sense so far? remember,
Does that work the same way if you're doing line days?
yes. Yep.
As long as you're in a calorie deficit.
Yes. So if I've got fat, okay, my body, I'm gonna put it right here. I should just get it. Let me just do it with the whiteboard. So your metabolism, here's your gear stick, right? This is like I got a Jeep out there, a manual transmission, got to put the clutch in to shift gears, all that fun stuff. So this is like a manual transmission. We're going to turn it into an automatic transmission. But right now you got to force things because your body, because of your culture, our culture has become an efficient carbohydrate burning machine, not an efficient fat burning machine. So you're in neutral. Let's say that you need 2,000 calories. There's a formula for that, but let's say your weight is such that you need 2,000 calories coming in. If you have more than that, you gain weight. If you have less than that, you lose weight. This is your baseline metabolic rate. You're in neutral. You're perfectly balanced. Nobody's perfectly balanced daily, but that's what happens when you're perfectly balanced. Your weight doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. Now, if those 2,000 calories are empty calories, just junk, you will slowly start putting on weight because your metabolism is diminishing. Let me stop there. That's another thing about baseline metabolic rate that they don't teach you. So like Weight Watchers is about points, right? It's a calorie thing. Now they've learned the last few years with Points Plus, it's not just a calorie thing. They already knew that. They're having to change their approach. So you're in neutral, but let's say that I have 2,000 calories of chicken and broccoli a day and you have 2,000 calories of Moose Tracks ice cream a day. Well, from adding fat, you and I, that day one, we're not going to add any fat. We're going to be perfectly balanced. But I ate something that elevated my metabolism and preserved muscle. You ate something where you were losing more muscle and losing less fat. Your scale weight might even go down a little more than mine because that ice cream was processed fast. The weight of it isn't in you, but it caused the insulin and it didn't preserve muscle. So your metabolism begins to slowly weaken. Does that make sense? Now, as the days progress and go by, take a year later, where we were both burning 2,000 calories a day, I'm still burning 2,000. I may have even put on some muscle and be burning a few more calories, but you're down around the 1,800 mark now. You see what happened? So now you're burning less calories at rest because of the way you're getting your calories. All calories are not created equal. What we focus on is more nutrient-rich, nutrient-dense, long-digesting calories. They're more satiating, you preserve more muscle, all that good stuff. Now, back to the illustration, my terrible artistry. So you're in neutral, and when you're in a calorie deficit, your body's got to figure out where is it going to get the calories it needs because you're in a calorie deficit. So it's going to choose both of these actually, but for illustrative purposes, we can eat in a way that we can dominate one side or the other. This is your muscle. This is your fat. This is where your body's going to find the calories. In your muscle, you will find cells that hold carbohydrate, hold glucose, and glucose is attached to water. That's why when you first start losing weight, the first thing before your body, before you go and burn fat or muscle, your body's got to consume all of the excessive glucose that's stored in your muscles, and that's attached to water weight. I'm going to pause there. Did that make sense? You don't burn fat first. If you're just getting started, doesn't matter what program you're on, your body is going to burn the stored glucose first as an energy source while you're in a calorie deficit. This is why athletes carb up before they go work out, and it's why after they work out, they're fine to eat carbohydrate because all they're doing is filling back up their muscular cells with glucose. They're not
Hey,
putting.
Brother Travis,
Uh-huh.
I got an analogy that I just thought of on that. That's kind of like building a fire. When you go to build a fire, you don't start with a big stick of oak wood. You start with little stuff easy to burn.
That's right.
Get it burning, then you throw the heavy stuff on.
That's
Just
right.
carbs, your sugar, and all that. That's the light stuff. That's your kindling. Once it gets that burned up, and if you're in the calorie deficit, it starts burning that heavy fat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great analogy there. Fantastic analogy. Everybody understand that part of it? And again, I'm not sure, Lisa, I'm not sure, everybody, if this is helpful. It's probably not helpful to the dieter who's just going to lose 10 and gain it back. But when we know, we'll just make better decisions, or at least that's how I found it, because now I see the food differently. I'm not looking at the food and thinking only that tastes good. I'm thinking, now, what is this going to do in my body, and do I want that result? That's why I prefer the harder path to wellness, the journey. So what Charles said is correct. Now, once we've exhausted the glucose attached to 2 to 3 times its weight in water, depending on how we are eating, depending on how we're conditioning our body and our metabolism, you're going to shift and start using fuel predominantly in the fat stores or in the muscle stores. There are 600 calories stored in a pound of muscle. There is 3,500 calories stored in a pound of fat. Fat takes up 2 times more space on the body than a pound of muscle. For example, we are what we eat. Check this out, different ways to look at it. 4 ounces of steak will take up more space on the plate than 4 ounces of chicken breast. If you take 200-pound men, one is 10% body fat and the other one's 30% body fat. That one with 30% body fat is in a size 38 instead of a size 32. Y'all follow me? They weighed the same, but one has more fat mass, one has more muscle mass. And the one with the more muscle mass is going to burn the more calories at rest. It's interesting, isn't it? We truly are what we eat. So I come back here. Y'all can see the whiteboard, right? Can you see that, Chris? Okay. So we're in a juxtaposition. We're operating in a calorie deficit, and our body says, I need some fuel. I have to have fuel. Why does your body need fuel? You're just sitting there on the couch. Well, every metabolic functioning process, from recovery to digestion, it all requires energy. So literally, when I get in a calorie deficit, this is a good ding-ding moment. I need to find my bell again. Listen, do you hear the old man? This is where it gets fun, because if I understand, once I shift and burn fat, I'm in a calorie deficit because my body needed energy to think, to process food. Now it's time for lunch. And Darla, let's say that I had some codfish cooked in MCT oil and I had some broccoli. And I consume it. That's slow digesting, requires a lot of blood flow to break that down, or a lot of energy. The fish is just amino acids. The MCT burns so fast that it has no propensity to be stored as fat and doesn't cause any insulin. Broccoli lowers my blood sugar to zones where I can even burn fat faster. I have no energy. So my body just consumed a meal where it needs more energy to break it down, and you dig even deeper into fat burning. That's why the red column, fat burning, doesn't even slow down when you eat. Does that make sense? That's why we tease and we say it's exercise on a plate. When you do the weight loss calculator on the website to see how fast you can get to your goal, it's that red column, because you don't ever leave fat burning. You stay in fat burning. Now, it doesn't mean the more you eat, the better off you are. There ends up being a diminishing return on your investment. If you eat too much, your body will evolve and it'll learn to break down protein. That means you're teaching your body to break down muscle. We don't want that. So you still have to follow portions, but when we eat the right portion, sorry, it's like a hair's sticking in front of my eye or something. When we eat the right portion, we're conditioning the body to become a fat burning machine. What Charles was talking about, Charles said, what about line days? So Charles just eats a steak. Well, your body's got to, when that happens, the metabolism, you're getting fat from the steak. You're not getting MCTs, you're getting the LCTs, Brother Charles. So let's say there was 200 calories of fat. The rest of it's protein, is not carbohydrate. Your body will go out of fat burning for as long as it takes you to burn through those calories, and then it'll shift back into fat burning. Does that make sense, Charles? But
I couldn't get unmuted.
But if you spike insulin, then your body is going to stay out of fat burning until the insulin is back down to normalized levels.
And that fat going in the little places that it likes to store it. Save it for a rainy day, right?
Correct. This is why when I used to do it, I haven't in years, I would help like Brian Tolbert, they're different bodybuilders. And instead, when they were trying to lean out, they wouldn't have energy to do their workouts. Y'all follow me? But what happens when they're leaning out and trying to get contest ready, if I tell them that they need carbohydrate to keep fueling their workouts, then they're not going to get shredded. So I would replace the carbohydrate with MCT. Then they were getting a clean fuel source without ever leaving fat burning. Make sense? All we've done here at Shibboleth is take stuff that the sports nutrition world knows, and we've modified it for our usage here to get better results. You have to modify it because they need certain insulin spikes depending on what their seasonal goals are. We're trying to limit those spikes. We're trying to turn our metabolisms from a carbohydrate-dependent metabolism to a fat-burning metabolism. So when we come back over here and look again, to keep unpacking this, if we were to shift, for example, and we start burning predominantly muscle in the beginning of our journey, look at what happens. This is why so many people get caught up with these crazy diets and things like gastric bypass. You're just losing muscle. You're losing some fat, but you're losing mostly muscle. That's why the predominant number of gastric bypass patients end up worse off, and their BMI, their body fat BMI came down, but body fat percentage never went down because they were losing mostly muscle. Most diets, you lose mostly muscle. Once I start utilizing muscle as an energy source, after I get through the glucose, if I keep burning muscle, I can lose the pounds in the beginning very quickly because there's only 600 calories stored in that 1 pound of muscle. So I can lose 10 pounds of muscle a lot faster than I can 10 pounds of fat. 10 pounds of muscle is only a 6,000 calorie deficit. 10 pounds of fat is 35,000 calories of calorie deficit that I need to be in. So even though it takes longer to lose fat, you can tell from a visual standpoint, you take somebody that's losing mostly fat versus someone losing mostly muscle. The person that lost 20 pounds of muscle they don't look much different. The person, they can look worse. The person that lost the 20 pounds of fat, it shows up. Does all that make sense? Okay.
Hey, Brother Travis, on that point, when you lose the 20 pounds of muscle, don't that slow your metabolism down too?
Yes. So if you lose 20 pounds of muscle, if you were burning 2,000 calories, now you're only burning about 1,800 calories a day. And you're wondering, that person's wondering, why did the weight loss stop even further? Because you were eating a certain calorie range, and now you got to go down even more faster to keep up with the weight loss, keep the weight loss going. Fat does not burn calories. It just jiggles and itches, right? Now, if you're carrying, why did 300-pound Travis burn more calories at rest than 200-pound Travis? All that muscle that I had, I did lose some of it, but the muscle that I had, it was having to work harder to carry around that weight. So there's a benefit from that standpoint, but you'd be better off to wear a weight vest instead of carry the body fat around. So my point is, if I had dieted incorrectly, then my metabolism would have went down even faster. Is that good? I feel like I'm a little all over the place. This is when we start categorizing foods, knowing this, you'll understand combinations better. Right now, when you see a 1, 2, 5 together, Darla, you're thinking, I wonder why. So understanding this is why it will help make better decisions. All right, so back to this. We know that our program done properly helps maintain a fair amount of our muscle from a percentage standpoint. You will lose some of both. You will lose some muscle. That's how the body works. But you can set up a bulwark against losing it at a fast rate. That's why people, I think, often brag on me until they see my stretch marks. They'll say, it doesn't look like you ever lost over 100 pounds. It's because I did it right. I did it with sports nutrition. Therefore, I preserve more muscle than someone who is just straight up dieting. The ways that you preserve muscle during calorie deficit is the following. Use it or you'll lose it. Exercise, blood flow. Now, I can be starving myself, and if I have the energy to exercise, my body says, I need this muscle. I can't get rid of it. Make sense? You'll still lose some, but use it or you'll lose it. When I was losing weight, I did not exercise. I didn't start that till a few years ago. So how did I maintain muscle? I preserved muscle with adequate protein. I preserve muscle with amino acid supplementation. Now I do all three. Haven't this year very much. Haven't had time to exercise. I need to make time. But if you're not going to exercise, it becomes more important that we look at your protein and that you consider supplementing with branched chain amino acids at a minimum. Now, amino acids without the calories help with the muscular tone, help prevent and avoid sagging skin. Then you have getting adequate protein. So let's pause there for a minute, and then I'll answer a couple of questions. Will it be okay if we go 5 weeks on this? We might need to go 5 weeks to really unpack it. Be right with you on that, Gwen. So I'm sorry?
I was saying that it'll be fine with me, the 5 weeks.
Awesome.
It'll be great for me, just however long it takes.
Awesome.
Oh.
And you can go through it again when we start a new one. I've been through it now how many times? 20 years. And
I'm going back and watching the videos, the other ones, to maybe absorb better.
Repetition is the mother of skill.
I learn something new every time. It's amazing, even after learning Shibboleth for so many years now. I think it's been 4 years for me. So I'm going to go back and watch all of these that are recorded that I missed.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Protein. Y'all have probably witnessed this. You may have been one asking the questions. How much protein do I need? If you're following the Shibboleth Shield, 3 eating episodes a day, they're all going to have protein, unless one of those episodes was a freebie. If you're having 3 episodes a day, your weekly, notice I'm saying weekly, your weekly protein amount is going to be adequate. I don't look at it by the day. Number one, I've become a big time faster. So there's days I'm not getting any protein. If I do a Tiger 36, I'm not getting any protein. Am I going to muscle waste? No. No, that's not how this works. The body doesn't evolve in seconds, but I look at it over the course of a week. So am I getting in enough episodes and enough protein to preserve? There's 3 goals when we look at how much protein we need. We just follow the shield, we're fine. You'll never need to worry about this except for one occasion. If I am fasting or whatnot, I look at it over the course of the week. So there's 3 goals. There is fat loss and muscle preservation. You cannot have more than one goal at a time as it relates to your body mass index. You cannot lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. It is impossible. I can't tell y'all how many times this old man, this old country hick, has been with academia and they say that that's not true. And then we debate it and they look silly. You can give the appearance that you're putting on muscle because you're getting rid of the layers of fat that are over the muscle. But you cannot put on muscle and lose fat at the same time. It's impossible. One requires a surplus of calories. The other requires a deficit. So if putting on muscle requires extra raw material, how can I simultaneously lose weight? Doesn't that make sense to everybody here? But you will hear.
Travis,
Yes, sir.
sorry to interrupt you again.
Okay.
But I heard a lie the other day. I was watching some doctor on YouTube about that. I don't even remember what it was about losing weight or something. I was just saying what they had to say. And he said, such and such, because muscle weighs more than fat. And I'm like, no. And I thought about that, and I was talking to Charlotte about it. She said, well, it does. I said, no, it don't. I said, if you have a pound of rocks or you have a pound of feathers, if you have a pound of them, it's a pound's a pound. I don't care how you look at it.
Right.
I said, but it'll take less rocks to equal a pound than it will feathers.
Yeah.
I said, so the muscle don't weigh more. It takes up less room on the body. The fat, takes up more room. So you just think, it weighs more, but because it's compact, but a pound is a pound.
Amen. That's right. A pound is a pound is a pound. It's that 1 pound of fat takes up, like feathers, it takes up more space. And another good illustration. So one goal at a time. Most people here, your goal is not to lose weight. It is to preserve lean living tissue and get rid of jiggly, itchy stuff, right? That was my goal. So the way we do in Fast Track and in the journey, Shibboleth journey, that's how we accomplish that. And we'll be getting in enough protein. So we'll finish up by giving you your protein requirements for this goal. By the way, partners and Faithfully Fit members, it's any day you'll have calculators where you can find out based upon your goal, your specific macronutrient needs. Then if we can keep this thing financed, the next part of that feature is you can click a button and get specific meal plans with those macros laid out for you. I say that so that you help me keep it going. That's going to be cool. All right. So there's two ways. There's the quick way that's like throwing horseshoes and you miss the ringer, and there's the right way where you hit the ringer. Mainly what we're doing is looking at what your weight is, and you need about 0.5 gram per pound of that weight if you want to do it the quick way. But the right way, you don't feed fat, you feed muscle and lean tissue. The right way is to do an assessment on our website or use your Rimfo scales and determine what your lean body weight is without the fat and the water, without the fat. Does that make sense? So if I do an assessment or I have a set of scales that'll do it for me, it's going to be a margin of error, but it's fine if you use the same thing consistently. I'm this morning 183, 185 pounds. I only have about 160 pounds of lean tissue. So I want to look at that lean tissue, and I need 0.5 gram per day of that in protein to preserve. That's 80 grams of protein per day. But I look at it like that's times 7 days a week. I need 560 grams of protein a week so that I preserve muscle, because some days I like to fast. If I get in a trend of fasting, I will start doing 1 meal a day and I'll add extra protein to that meal. But that's another topic for a later time. But if you're looking for your protein requirement and your goal is fat loss, you take your lean body weight and you'll need 0.5 gram up to 1 gram of protein for that. So let's say that you're a female and you're 200 pounds. Your lean tissue is probably going to be around 140. So you take that to preserve that, half that is 70. You would need 70 grams of protein a day to maintain your muscle. If you miss a day or two, that's fine, but we'll make up for it later in the week when we're doing the 3 eating episodes. Maybe add an extra protein shake. If you're trying to be specific, that's how we be specific for that goal. If you're
Travis, on that, what you just said, because I was trying to find my pin from my grandson. You said, like, if I'm like right now, I'm like 170. So what would my lean thing be? And so how much protein I need to get? So I need to.
Do you have a set of Rimfo scales?
What is that?
where they tell you what your lean body weight is?
No.
Do you know how to use the website assessment?
Yeah, I think I haven't done it in a long time, but do that and then it will tell me how much protein I need.
Yeah, it'll tell you right over there. It won't tell you how much protein.
Okay.
But it'll say this is your lean body weight.
Okay.
Your lean body weight. It'll show you your lean body weight, your excess fat, your reserve fat, and your essential fat. If we want to look good in our clothes, we need to look and be healthy, we need to lose our excess fat. If we want to have a 6-pack of abs, we need to lose half of our reserve fat. Once you get down into your essential fat, you will go into what the nutritional world calls starvation mode. You need that essential fat. Does that make sense? All right, I'm gonna pause there. Go ahead.
Sorry, how would I figure out how much protein off of that once I do that assessment?
Okay.
Is it a certain percentage or?
Yes, it is. So
okay.
If you look at, it's going to say your lean body weight. Let's say that yours is 120 pounds. Maybe now that doesn't mean you get down to 120. Remember,
okay,
your essential fat is not a part of that.
Okay.
So let's say that it says Shanice's lean body weight is 120 pounds. Then you would need half that minimum in protein, which would mean 60 grams a day. Does that make sense? You could go up to 120. Once you're maintaining like I am, you need at least 1 gram for every lean pound. So if I get down to and I am, I probably need 160 grams of protein. If I'm trying to put on muscle, I need to eat properly, not junk, not just any calories, but I need up to 2 grams. I need extra protein to put on extra muscle because that's the stuff muscle's made of. Does that make sense? All right, let me answer some of these questions and we'll let y'all go. If you exercise, that's why we take BCAA. Yes, I take Catalyst before and after, at least after every workout. Can you add kale to your shakes? You can add kale to anything you want to forever, as long as it's not saturated in fat. Should I not do strength training like triceps machine if I have 7 pounds to lose? Great question, Gwen. Don't stop doing that, because that's going to help you preserve more muscle because you're getting more blood flow to the muscle. Don't stop doing that. Now, you have heard me say to a beginner, if you haven't been exercising, please don't start yet. Because if you throw too much at yourself, you'll quit. Now, let me give y'all another cautionary tale. If you start losing weight here and you start feeling better, and then you go to a trainer, but you still got 40, 50 pounds to lose, you're going to say, I feel weak. They're going to say, eat more. You need to eat more. And you're going to gain your weight back. Do not listen to them. Suffer. Suffer with those workouts till you get to your goal. Then we can eat more again. Does that make sense? You can't have it both ways. You can't have more energy and lose fat. And as soon as people start, I get so frustrated. I've got people, some of you are here, I'm certain. You've lost 80 pounds, got 40 to go. You feel so good. You go to work out, and that's great that you're doing that. But then they tell you, and that's just what Big Travis needed to hear, you need to eat more. Yeah, you'll have more energy for the gym, but you're going to start putting back on fat, and then you're going to be depressed. Get to your goal first. So don't start exercising until you're mentally prepared for all of that. If you're already exercising, don't stop. Did I miss anybody's question before we go? Anybody got anything else? Got a few more minutes. Don't forget to take your peak performance. It is as important as I say that it is.
Yeah, I started this morning. There was a lot in the morning. I got it down.
Get it down. You need that stuff. So I weigh 123 and work out for strength. I want to lose 7 pounds. How much protein do I need a day? About 60 grams. On your, let me take my phone. On your Rimfo scale, you have listed in your app, you have body fat, fat-free body weight. That is the term, fat-free body weight. Does that make sense, Lee? Fat-free body weight is how it's termed there. Those are inexpensive scales. I wished every single client had a set. They're like $30. They're durable, and you got an app for it. You can even have friends that can hold you accountable. Anybody else?
Travis, I just have a quick question on exercise. If I'm doing low-key aerobics because of my back surgery, but twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, is that building muscle, or is that just considered exercise?
That's preserving muscle and burning fat.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you're in a calorie deficit. Let's say that you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're also burning weight. You're burning the weight of glucose and water, which is still great. You're getting rid of that. so that you can burn fat. When people lose 10 pounds in a week, that's not a bad thing. Some of us go, yep, they're just losing water weight. You still got to get that off. So it's not a bad thing. It's part of the journey, something to celebrate. But where it gets bad is when it's the same person losing the same. We're never losing anything but water and sugar because we're not consistent in our efficient fat burning day after day. More than 6 holidays, you start seeing a slowdown in your weight loss. You'll still see weight loss up to about 12 days for the average person. Then it ceases. Then it becomes slow weight gain to fast weight gain.
Yeah, I've got 15 pounds left to go to get to my goal weight, which is 135. And I'm hoping to do that with this challenge starting Monday.
Great, great, fantastic. Anybody, any questions or comments before we go? Great time to get any question answered that you want answered in case I missed something through email, which happens a lot. Thank you, Lisa. I will be leaving here and going to bed and getting back up about 5. I will see y'all tonight at 7 p.m. For the Faithfully Fit lesson. We will be doing a repeat of Blue Zone and talking about that meal plan. Everybody should have gotten that meal plan. Talk about anything else you Faithfully Fit members want to talk about. We keep asking you to pray. And if you haven't become a partner or a Faithfully Fit member, we hope that you'll consider doing so that we can keep the program not just in existence, but also getting better and better. And stay away from all these new fad diets. Stay home. Anybody got anything? Oh, why? But no, I'm not. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't say it. I'm not sick. Thank you for asking. I'm going to bed because I worked 3rd shift last night. Thanks for asking, though. I feel good. What's the name of that scale again, Denise? Lisa gave a link for it. It's called the RENFO. RENPHO. RENFO. RENFO. Yes, anytime you use our Amazon links, whatever you put in your cart after using a link, I get a penny. Some things I get more than a penny, like a Audible book or something. But food and drink, I get a penny. And it helps. It helps. I think we're going to get like $200. And that helps pay somebody. So please, by all means, go through those links. We appreciate you.
So Travis, I have one of those scales, which I got years ago, but it was through your suggestion, but I don't know how to use it. All it does is I get on it and it sends my weight to the phone. But is that all that the purpose of it is?
Yeah. So you get on the scale and you stay on it until it does everything it's supposed to do. It lets you know, it'll blink, blink, blink. And then on your app, you get that, right? You should be getting that. If it's synced properly through Bluetooth, you should have.
Yeah, I don't think I get that. I'll have to look at it after we're done here and see. I'll let you know next time.
Yep, you should get that information, all great information, and it keeps up with it for you. It's through Bluetooth. You got to stay on it barefooted. It's a biometric impedance device. Those kind of scales usually run $200 or $300. I was skeptical about these, but they're awesome. I don't know how they do it for that price.
I went to it through your link, and hopefully I got the right one because I just ordered it. But it was like $23, $24. Does that sound right?
It's gotten cheaper since I bought it.
Yeah, it's a RENFO. It's through Bluetooth body fat scale, digital weight scale. It was through your link, so.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Well, you get a penny now.
I've used them all, and it's fantastic. Anybody else? All right, we'll close out in prayer. Appreciate y'all coming. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in the earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day, Lord, our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Thank y'all. See you soon.
Thank you,
Amen.
Travis.
Love you, brother.
Love y'all. Talk soon.